Hey guys! As you can probably already tell from the thumbnail today, I'm going to be talking about what studying chemistry at university is like. For those of you who have no idea who I am, I'm a second-year university student at Imperial College London on a 4-year integrated chemistry master's course. I am also an overseas student from Hong Kong, for those of you interested in my background. In this video, I'll be mentioning the following topics. I'll leave timestamps in the description below so that you can skip the parts which you aren't interested in. Please note that this is what I myself believe in is true or can find on the college website right now. However, this may all change over time. So let's start off by describing what a typical week in the life of a first year looks like. As a first year, you will typically have either lectures, tutorials, or workshops in the afternoon. Lectures occur almost every week. Whilst 2 workshops and 2 tutorials are scheduled for every 8 lectures. The whole cohort will be present for lectures, whilst workshops, also known as problem classes, will contain 20 to 25 students, and less than 10 of you will be scheduled for each tutorial. Tutorials and workshops are both taught by professors, not PhD students, though sometimes a PhD student may assist in the teaching of workshops, since there are more people during those classes. In certain weeks you will have labs as well. These occur in the mornings for 3 to 4 days a week from 9 to 12, with a 1-hour lunch break between the labs and the things happening in the afternoon. However, nothing will ever be scheduled by the department on a Wednesday afternoon, because it is left free to allow you to pursue your other interests. Often, sports societies occur then. Imperial Horizons is the Center for Languages, Culture and Communications flagship program for undergraduates. Every year you can choose to do one of the 3 courses which will show up on your degree certificate with a pass or fail and will not affect your overall grade. In your first year, these will typically occur on Tuesday afternoons. Chemistry labs are divided into 3 types. Synthesis labs, where you make organic and inorganic compounds. Measurement science or physical labs, where you collect data and analyze it. Programming or computational labs, where you learn how to use Python for data analysis, as well as model molecules using different types of software. The number of hours you spend in the lab increases as you go through the degree. On average in a year, first year spent 110 hours in the lab, second year spent 160 hours, and third year spent 200 hours. However, they constantly change up the labs for every year from feedback given in the previous year. Also, depending on which chemistry course you applied for, these numbers will vary. The available options for auxiliaries in first year are as follows: MPC 1, MedChem 1, or a foreign language course. The majority of students choose either MedChem 1 or MPC 1 as an auxiliary, whilst a small minority of students choose to do a language auxiliary. Most of us don't choose to do a language, since those courses can be taken as a horizon instead of a credit-bearing course. If you're torn about which auxiliary to choose, don't worry. Your choice isn't set in stone until a month after university has started, during which you can check out both of the module's lectures in person or through online lecture recordings before you make your final decision for the rest of the year. Before university started, I had chosen MedChem 1 as my auxiliary. However, after talking to students in the years above, from what I understood, I would say MPC requires more understanding and less recall compared to MedChem. Therefore, I switched to MPC since I didn't do well with memorizing lots of stuff. MPC is structured such that you have all your maths lectures in term 1, then all your physics lectures in term 2. Back when I took MPC, the maths lecturer had a very heavy accent when she spoke, so I couldn't really understand what she was trying to explain. But thankfully with maths, there are a lot of resources online for topics, so I basically self-studied it, and it's the type of subject where you improve exponentially with practice. Despite not having touched physics for 2 years since I sat the physics GCSE exam, and having taken further maths for A-level, I actually found that physics portion of MPC made more sense than maths. In the beginning, I was quite worried about the lack of physics knowledge I had would cause me to not understand the lectures. But it seemed that the department realized that and had given us the syllabus of what we were expected to know before the start of the course, so that we could understand the lectures. Also, the speed at which physics was taught was much slower than maths, so that helped a lot too. In the comments section of my YouTube channel, I have often received queries about the competitiveness or pressure that the department places on us. At Imperial, the rankings of students' performance in exams are not publicized. Therefore, there isn't much competition between most students, unless you're friends of students who like to boast about their scores. None of the academic staff put pressure on you unless you're failing. However, your personal tutor will do so if you tell them you're aiming for a higher grade, which makes sense. And the amount of content you're expected to recall during tutorials can be quite overwhelming at first, but you get used to it after a while. I would say most of the pressure we get is from each other. Everybody at Imperial used to be the top of their chemistry class back in school, so the pressure you get to be above average is much higher than other universities, where B is already pretty good. This is due to the fact that at Imperial, most cohorts score on average in exams with an A. Also, because of how hardworking and smart people around you are, it's easy to suffer a bit of imposter syndrome sometimes. So all in all, as long as you keep up with your work and you don't compare yourself with other people around you, then the pressure and the competitiveness really isn't that bad. The support for the chemistry department is pretty good. We have one-on-one personal tutorials once a month, and 2 small group tutorials where you can ask for help in conjunction with workshops or problem classes. We're also always able to ask lecturers for help via email or talk to them after the lecture ends. They are usually happy to stay behind and just talk to you if they don't have anything immediately after. As you progress through the undergraduate chemistry degree at Imperial, your total grade for each year becomes more and more dependent on your coursework and practical marks and less on your exam scores. Every year, ancillary exams are typically taken either in the beginning of the second term or third term. The main chemistry exams are either all taken at the end of the third term or split into 2 batches, with first term content being examined in the beginning of the second term, and second plus third term content being tested at the end of the third term. Vivas also occur in place of written exams or lab reports at random times of the year. Coursework is mostly made up of programming coursework, group projects, data analysis, and reports from labs. You are assessed at the end of every synthesis lab practical from term 3 of year 1 onwards. Usually you are marked on the yield, purity, and spectrums collected of the product synthesized. In year 1 and term 1 of year 2, you will also be marked on how you record experimental observations, procedures, and measurements in your lab notebook. I attended open days at Oxford, Imperial, and UCL before I did my university applications to finalize my decisions. UCL was just a university which I couldn't see myself studying at, so I decided to trust my gut feeling. So I ended up only applying for Oxford and Imperial. Oxford because of the tutorial system, how academically rigorous the course was, as well as to please my parents, to be perfectly honest. I applied for Imperial because of my wish to be challenged academically, and the course content felt like it was tailored just for me. Although in the beginning, I didn't want to study in London because of the crazy high living costs, and the fees as an overseas student at Imperial weren't cheap either. However, after comparing the chemistry courses between different universities through looking at their prospectuses, Imperial's chemistry course really stood out for me, because of their focus on computer programming and practical work starting from year 1. Most other universities did not mention anything about learning to code for data analysis as part of the course, so this was something special about Imperial's chemistry degree which made me choose it. And that is it for today. If you're still watching by the end of this video, thank you so much. I hope this video will be of help to you, and good luck with any university applications you might have in the future.